This is Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance 2. We're here on Xbox Series X, taking a look at this follow-up entry to, well, the first Dark Alliance game. So be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So on the Series X, we're getting a 4K resolution, 60 FPS, and there is support for local 2-player co-op if you'd like to play with somebody else. So unspeakable evil has returned to the legendary city of Baldur's Gate. A call for adventurers echoes through the embattled lands. Cunning warriors and bold magic users are desperately needed to reclaim Baldur's Gate from a dark sorcerer that threatens all in its path. So the game kind of opens with that, where you get to see, essentially your heroes of the original adventure kind of, running into a bit of a tricky situation. And now you have kind of stepped up, and you get to pick from, I think there's, 5 or 6 different class options. And you are going down and having to deal with the threats that have arisen. So it's definitely a little bit of a, I guess you would say, a hack and slash sort of thing when it comes to gameplay. You may not block while you're doing this, that's funny. So yeah, hack and slash, you've got your different characters, you're moving through different environments, there's bosses, there's monsters, there's goblin things, there's all kinds of stuff you gotta kill, and it's that classic, iconic experience brought back, and looking, I guess you would say, better than ever, I suppose. It's not like they've completely revamped anything or anything like that, but it looks sharp, it looks like it's something that belongs in the modern era. And I think that in itself is quite nice to have. You chop his head right off? That's crazy. Or maybe the brain out? I don't know. There's a few different difficulty options, but it's basically that iconic experience that you had enjoyed many moons ago if you were into this sort of thing. This is definitely a pretty well-loved title that I think offers a lot of gameplay that you can enjoy. And keep in mind that we did get the first Dark Alliance game released about, I want to say, a year ago at this time. So it's nice to have, both offerings available. I think that in itself is quite fantastic. As I was kind of expecting that we would get this one. I know that sounds weird, but usually you don't just do like the first in a series and kind of leave it at that if it's this type of classic thing. So it's nice that they actually sat there and, took the time to actually give us both of these games, so you could play them essentially together if that's your sort of thing, if you want to go through both of them at the same time. So then you get different points, and you can improve stuff. Physical damage, as you do your stats, and then you've got your different types of potion. Awesome achievements! You build up your characters, you get goals, you have different things you're supposed to do, different clothing options. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it, it's basically your typical Diablo-esque experience, right? It's a good old sort of hack and slash type thing. I want to equip this. Why can't I equip this? Because it's supposed to be in them. Anyways, doesn't matter. We'll keep going, we don't need it anyways. But yeah, you've got that sort of, I want to say, classic role-playing sort of style to it. Enter the Trollbark Forest, and the loading is it's instant. Which is kind of expected. It's dark and rainy and moody. Look at these gripping cutscenes. Things are about to get real ominous when you get down here. Oh, I actually have to fight these things. Okay. Die. Yeah, you better fly away. Ain't no flying for me. Yeah, it's got this moody night scene. But I think the biggest thing is they kind of really did, increase the quality between the two different titles. This one being an expansion upon, what we got in that first game. It was obviously quite acclaimed, I would say. It was definitely a pretty big deal at the time, the first game. And then they whipped out this follow-up, and I definitely hear, quite a lot about this one, right? Which is kind of interesting. And I did thoroughly enjoy sitting there playing through, Dark Alliance 1 when it released about a year ago. It was a blast. It was, the big dragon things, the big monsters, the crazy challenges. It was pretty cool. Ugh. I've fallen and I can't get up. And keep in mind, this game is definitely not friendly if you die. Seriously, like, you've got to actually make your... you gotta make saves when the game gives you options, otherwise you get kicked royally back to where you came from. But that's also some of the fun of it, like these older games, is the fact that it doesn't really, like, hold your hand and whatnot. But I mean, I would say there's so many, like, guides and stuff that exist at this point that you should be able to, you know, find help if you do happen to need it. Oh, look, we got some adventuring type things. And I always call it, like, it's kind of open world, I would say, but it's like more Fable-esque little hub areas that you go through, if that makes sense. A shoddy ring. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Love me some shoddy rings. A lesser rejuvenation potion? Cannot upgrade. Cannot upgrade. Well, that's helpful. The character models look really good. I gotta say, they did a pretty good job on that sort of thing. Like, it really, you know, it's the same game. Yeah, it's not like they've, you know, completely redone things or anything like that, but it's just nice to have it available on modern platforms in a clean, quality sort of way, right? Like, this obviously looks way better than it did back in the day, and then getting it actually running on the modern hardware components is ideal, so that people can, you know, discover this game for the first time, or rediscover it, or go on new adventures. And I think that's always valuable, is being able to go back and enjoy something that you really liked, or, you know, possibly having somebody, you know, kind of new be able to come into a franchise and take a look at its origins. I think that's fantastic. You know, especially because, like I said, you can play the first one if you've ever wanted to give that one a whirl. It's pretty cool. And there's a lot of challenge here, guys. It's not what I'd call an easygoing experience, that's for sure. Anybody else want to taste my sword or be asked a question? Ha ha. I know, right? But it's also nice that they did really clean this up to the fact that you are getting the, like, high tier resolution and high tier frame rate. I've seen so many games, you know, where they bring it back and they just, like, don't really give us, like, the full sort of offering, if that makes sense. It's always disappointing to me when that kind of thing happens. So we get, like, a better axe, a battle axe, 4 to 12 damage. It's so powerful. But it's a two-hand. No, we'll see if we could rock this. I usually do, like, one-hand swords, so whatever. I mean, I'm a huge barbarian. And as I did mention, you know, there's multiple classes that you can play as. You don't have to just be, you know, you don't have to fit into any other role. It is a little different coming from the first game, though, where it's got, like, these, like, I guess you would call them truly classic character types, if that makes sense. Like, you know, the sorceress lady, the sort of dwarf with the axe, and you know, that kind of thing. Just the really iconic sort of options, and then you come here and it's definitely a larger built out cast of characters, which is cool. I always appreciate that in games, is having a different variety across the titles. Although I'm sure so many always love to have their favorite classes return, especially when you're doing, like, a dungeon crawling sort of RPG like this with the loot elements. But I'm very happy with this. You know, it's nice to be able to jump in here and, you know, explore and see what this game has to offer. That wolf is killer. I'm feeling, like, a little bit of hostility. Yeah, just a little bit. Starting to think these, like, goblin things don't want us to peacefully move through this area. Nothing in the box. See, it's just like, it's a really, really cool fantasy world. And it feels like it would be very, very open, but it's like you're definitely moving through, you know, these very clear hub-type sections, right? I don't know why I was struggling to get those hits off so much. Ow. Level up. Endurance. Great. Fortitude. Gotta get those skills going. I mean, it's a true RPG game in all of the ways, right? A classic thing. plenty of save points. Although I probably should have opened the chests and stuff beforehand. Because you know when you die, you don't want to have to re-go to areas, right? At least I don't. I like to have to redo interactions. Yeah, the other wolves don't look too tough now. There's a whole gang of wolves. There's a whole pack. Starting to think these birds are a bit of an issue. Just saying. Is this shoddy ring better than this shoddy ring? Can I have 2 shoddy rings? You have all the shoddy rings in the world. And it won't make you feel any better. Pick up another shoddy ring. I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to sell to the local shoddy ring person. Good thing I know a guy named Jeff. He loves shoddy rings. They're his bread and butter. Die, wolves. Is that shoddy sword better than my shoddy axe? Got a lot of shoddy items. Oh no, this is a battle axe. This is a sexy weapon. This one does damage. Probably why I'm so proficient at killing things. Gonna have to kill like the whole local wolf population out here. Don't forget to save often. Cool, so essentially we had a situation where the game crashes once you get to a certain cave coming up. So I've now played this as of this update, and that is fixed. So future folks won't be able to have to deal with that, which is great. Just wanted to provide a little bit of context in case you're wondering about the sudden sort of change of gameplay and everything like that. That's because that was a real annoyance that popped up, so kind of glad that they finally patched that. And it's a little shocking that it took time to patch that, considering, well, you know, it's something that only takes like, what, 15 minutes of gameplay to come across. It really didn't test things out too much with this, did they? No siree. Okay. So let's take a look at what we got for items in a sec here, because we've got the cave area coming up in a little bit. Let's look, we got... kind of want the battle axe. Battle axe is on. That's good. Lots of shoddy stuff. Get some better boots on. Kind of loves shoddy rings, eh? Maybe a little shoddy amulet will add some spice to the to the wardrobe. Oh, anyways, just gonna ignore that for now. And let's continue our quest. So anyways, it is a pretty cool game when everything is kind of running like it should. Are we for real on this, that I was getting cut up like that by these guys? It's the poison arrows, I tell you. And it's got like this weird kind of like stall when you go and like get hit by stuff. It's like a stagger effect. Okay, so this was the part where it was freezing. And now we can finally actually get in here and enjoy this. What an annoyance, eh? And now the real quest can begin. These poor citizens. They need to be saved. Just like I need to save things so that I don't have to experience those crashes anymore. That's a lot of goblin things. Feeling a real sense of, I guess you would say, hostility in this room. I'm starting to feel like they don't want me in here. But it's nice that the classic game is getting the care it deserves. It's so weird that we would have that issue. You know, something that's so easily visible, like you literally would just have to play not even like 15 minutes of the game and be like, oh wow, this doesn't work, and be like, oh, that's an issue. But alas, I guess they didn't really test that out, which in itself is a little disappointing. But it's all running now, perfectly fine, so that's good. Down you go, goblin. And these intensive wolves that seem to be everywhere. Take like a few stabs of the axe, that's ridiculous. Alright, what are we dealing with in this room? A save point. Yeah, definitely save often, just in case. A, deaths, B, you know, other issues in case they do arise, but this it seems to be all cleaned up now. Okay, so we can't get into any of these doors. Just keep having to kill our way to victory. Get back here. You gotta watch out for the bowmen. It's not typically the spear guys. It's the archers from the distance that get you, especially when it comes to the goblins. Look at them all go, jeez. Just a smidge of hostility. I'd read the room, but obviously I gotta get in here and complete my quest. Any good potions? Not really. A gate key, right on. And is that another shoddy ring? You know how I love my shoddy rings. But yeah, lots to loot, lots to stabby stab. I'd say lots to shoot, but we're not the class that shoots things. Anybody else want a little of this barbarian action? Oh, definitely could use that health potion. Really? Ooh, spooky. Well, I don't want whatever they're shooting. Where did that guy have to be coming from, like the water area, and it's just following us around? Well, we found the cell key that we're looking for. But alas, where are the prisoners?
Thank you.
No problem. Shoddy leather boots. That kills me every time.